there, it's Sunday morning and I just released the video on making my Fisher-Price router lift for the trim router. That was a project that I'm calling my last full 3D print project. Maybe. Okay, I'm not going to rule out any more full 3D print projects in the future, but I think from now on I'm just going to be using the 3D printer for, well, in the same way as I use the CNC now, both of them, and the table saw and stuff like that, where it's just another tool that I can rely on to get stuff done, because it's great for that. It's actually perfect for that, because what it allows you to do is quickly, very quickly, and very cheaply actually as well, realize the designs that you have in your head, as in bring them into reality quickly, and you can see where you've made your mistakes. And believe me, I made quite a few on that router lift. Okay, now it's sitting over there in the bay where the old router table, which is only 2 years old, was in. And I used that, I don't know, maybe 50 times since I built it. A router table is something that when I first started in woodworking, you know, as a hobby, not my day job, because I'm a carpenter after all, but at home as a hobby, I thought the router table was something that you would need first off. Like a table saw, you'd need a router table. And it had to be a big beefy unit. And over the years, I've made quite a few router tables, including the monstrosity that I built before I moved here, which I soon determined was too big and too much of a waste of space. Okay, so that's long gone. As often happens with a content creator on YouTube. You know, you need new projects to make, and there's only so many, right? So router tables, there's been a few, table saws, there's been a few, and so on and so forth. But the 3D printer will be relegated for parts that I think it makes sense, and also to mock things up just to test it out. And here's another 3D printed thing that I posted on Patreon to show. And this is, I don't have the print files for this or anything. This was just a very quick little side project that I did. If you look in here in the middle, you'll see that it's a tilt block. And this is a tilt block that I've had for about 10 years. And I couldn't keep it out here in the workshop because it kept going dead. And part of the reason for it going dead is that when you have a push button to turn something on, right, you have to press it in and it comes on, okay? But when you have that arrangement, that means that it's drawing current all the time. And you leave it out here in the cold shop in the winter, you pick it up, you'll find that it's dead because, first of all, the cold's working against it and the constant drain on the battery, which is just a little button cell, a CR2025 or something like that. And also, the door on the back was very difficult to turn. They put a couple of grooves in there, and it was very annoying to try to change the battery. So what I did was I designed this box, which is bigger, of course. So you're saying, well, how's that going to work? Because, you know, you've made it way bigger, too big. Well, the reality is that I've only ever used this for leveling something as a level, as a fairly precise level, because it's 0.1 degree resolution on this. I use this to level the top of my workbench. That's the last thing I used it for. So I said, better just to take the tilt block unit, put it in a bigger case that you could fit real batteries into. So I got a AA battery over here and a AA battery over here. And you can see they slide shut. So, you know, they're not going to fall out. And then you've got a switch. This is a bit big, but it's what I had. So I just went with that. That turns it on. And it's on. And you probably can see that here. I'll hide my face. Yeah, so anyway, you can turn it off again with the switch that's on the tilt block, but you always want to be turning the switch off because that means that there's no battery current going to the tilt block. All right, so I can leave this out here. The batteries will be fine. The thing ran on 3 volts, which is what those button cells put out. So I've got 3 volts coming from the 2 batteries connected in series through the switch that turns it on, and it's ready to go. And I turn it off and it's not going to go dead. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, I got the, I probably mentioned this in the last video. I'm pretty sure I did, but I said I was going to convert my wood lathe to a metal lathe, and I've got the linear bearings. These are the 20 millimeter ones, the bigger ones, and the bearing blocks have grease nipples on them so they can be greased periodically. So these are heavy duty. I've actually got 4 of these. I ordered these on Amazon, and these are Beaver product. I didn't get it from Beaver like a deal. Okay, not sponsored. I could have contacted Beaver and they would have been happy to send this out to me, I'm sure. But I bought 2 of these sets. There's 2 of these in a box, plus a lead screw. Where the heck is that? The shop is such a mess that I'm almost embarrassed to be filming out here. But one other thing that I bought with that order was a little propane heater that you put on a propane bottle that I can turn on, and it's running right here now, that I can turn on while I'm out here for extended periods and then shut it off. Because I had a big gas bottle installed a few years ago to run the gas stove in my kitchen and the barbecue. I did that because I didn't want to have all the eggs in one basket. Like here, the electricity goes out for weeks on end sometimes. It did last year. And without that, you can't cook, you know, like you can't barbecue anything. You can't cook on the stove. Now with the propane bottle. Anyway, so I had a bottle left. I had 2 propane bottles. One's empty and the other one's still full. So I took that out here and it's running that little heater. And I'm going to go get that ball screw. Okay, here it is. This is a 16 millimeter, 1 meter long ball screw. And one of these came with the 2 linear bearings. I thought it was a really good deal, 140 bucks. Because when you go look for this kind of stuff, you're going to pay $100 for this anyway. So yeah, I thought it was a good deal. And what I might do with this is use it on the lathe as a drive for threading, or I may upgrade the lead screws on the metal cutting CNC. But I'm hesitant to do that because it's working fine as it is with the regular threaded rod and the 3D printed screws that it goes into. It's working fine. And so is my big one down in the basement. So you might be saying, what are you going to do with a metal lathe, John? Well, okay, so we'll take the 2 examples of my CNCs. If I had a metal lathe when I was building those, I wouldn't have to take the time to design a coupling that would go on the motor. Okay, I could have machined it from aluminum or even steel to fit perfectly on what I have. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. That's just like off the top of my head, one of the reasons. But I often have stuff that I want to do, and it would be nice to have a metal lathe to do it. So yeah, that's a project that's coming up. But I think I said in the last video as well that I'm going to be taking my time with it. It's not going to be a steady project because I did that with the CNC here, metal cutting CNC, and I got burned out, right? Which always happens when I tackle a big project from start to finish. I get burned out. So instead, what I'm going to do is do the CNC lathe in pieces and mix it with the build for a new toolbox, which I have right here. Okay, you can see it's a scale model. I actually designed the entire toolbox in SketchUp, and then I exported the parts full size and scaled them down in the slicer and printed the parts, as you can see. Now this is based on the Gershner style box, which has that door that slides out and hides away inside. It's a little tight here, but it won't be on the real thing. And has drawers in the bottom, wide ones. Okay, the one on the very bottom is the widest, is the deepest one. And they all work in my model here, and they'll work in the real one. And it'll be exactly the same as this, because I have all the parts already designed. And I actually put the model, the SketchUp model, on Patreon for my supporters there. The thing about this is that it's going to have full extension drawer slides on all of these, like the 4 drawers on the bottom and the 6 drawers here in the middle. These ones on the end, which are narrow, they won't have full extension drawer slides, but they are extended at the back so that they'll hold in an open position fully out, right? Like that. So this is the project that I'm starting next, okay? So I'm going to start building this. And before I get too far with it, I'm going to make a video, because this is going to be another build series. I'm going to make a video, and then I'm going to set this aside to work on the lathe. And when I have a video's worth of material for the lathe, then I'll get that video posted. That'll be another build series. And then I'll switch back to the toolbox. So it'll be back and forth between the two. And hopefully, in that way, I'll avoid burnout. Oh, before I go, I wanted to say something. You know that YouTube has given up on you when your video comes out and it is encoded with the AVC codec rather than the WP091. YouTube doesn't want to waste their bandwidth on creators that are not putting out content that's being viewed. So that's a sure sign right there that your channel is going down the tubes when your videos are being encoded with that inferior codec. So it limits the bandwidth. And because they know my videos are not going to get seen, they're not going to get watched, because my subscribers, the ones that are still around, are not getting the recommendations. And nobody, except us YouTubers, I think, uses the subscription page. Everybody's on the home page and waiting for YouTube to show them what they're supposed to watch, right? Are you all a bunch of robots? Use the subscription page. It's right there, okay? Click on that button and it'll show you all the videos. Well, you should, anyway, show you all the videos from the people you're subscribed to.
Give me an F.
F.
Give me an A.
A.
Give me an S.
S.
Give me a C.
C.
Give me an ism.
Ism.
What's that spell?
Fascism.
What's that spell?
Fascism.
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 Fascism. Fascism. Fascism.